practice been going this week after a short turnaround after
Yeah.
a game where you guys were pretty productive?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a very disappointing loss. It was tough and very, emotional, and had a great opportunity to win the game and just didn't finish the right way. But I've been really proud of the players and how they've responded. I think they've had the right attitude coming out here and having the mindset to continue to work to get it right and continue to get better each and every week. So I've been proud of the progress, and obviously short week. And we're playing a really good defense against Tulsa. They got a really good scheme, and so it's really important for us to really nail down what they're doing. So, a lot of our physical work is done, but we still have plenty of mental work to go prior to this game.
Charlie, Tulsa's faced a couple of pretty outstanding teams.
Yes.
What do you see in their defense that makes it so effective? I know they got that horse in the middle at linebacker.
Absolutely.
What do you think has really been making the difference for them?
I think they got the two things. Number one, I feel like schematically, they're a really good defense. They do some things out of their three-down package that make it difficult to attack certain areas of the field. They do a good job of, kind of boxing things in and making you run the ball inside to some big players, like you said. With some of those linebackers are big in there and big up front. So I think that's number one. Number two, personnel-wise, they're good. Their corners are big and physical. They bully receivers, push them to the sideline. And then up front, they've really dominated the first two games of the season, done a great job of playing physical and stopping the run and trying to make people one-dimensional. And so I think they've done a really good job thus far this year.
Coach Scott said that example of Duke's touchdown where it's very physical.
Yes.
You guys have been using that kind of as an example to the receivers. I mean, you could just tell us what you've been coaching them up on when you're facing a team that kind of pushes you out of bounds.
Absolutely. So with their corners, they're tall and long and physical, and so you definitely have to play extremely physical. So this week in practice, we've had our scout team corners do a great job of, hey, get up in their face, be in their grill, be physical, and dominate them. So you really got to get that look from the scout team. They've done a great job of doing that right there. But from the receiver perspective, it's just really a challenge to play physical, and you got to play every play. You can't take any plays off, because these guys they're gonna play hard every single play, and if you take a play off, they're gonna embarrass you and put you to the sideline. So it's really that mentality of going out there and playing physical like Dukes did on his touchdown. And you can see how easy it is when you play like that to have some production.
Coach, obviously you'd like to clean up the turnovers, but the last couple of times you've been moving the ball. The last couple of games,
Right.
you've been moving the ball very well.
Right.
Do you see that largely as a byproduct of sticking with Jordan at the quarterback and the comfort level growing between Big
Yeah.
and him?
I think it's not just Jordan, but maybe just the offense as a whole. Maybe early in the year, a couple things, with the virus going on and having certain players out, up front especially, is pretty well documented. And then overall, us too, just, finding our groove of who are the players we're trying to get the ball to. Johnny Ford's kind of emergence. And then, finally, this has been the last 2 weeks, we've had our offensive line kind of in shape. And with our starters in, and I think that shows, how their improvement from the first game against ECU. Talked about a lot of communication errors, and then we go against Temple, and those guys up front were much better with that stuff and making the right calls and going to the right people. So Jordan certainly a factor in that and sticking with him, but I think it's just the offensive continuity as a whole, playing the same guys.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about your screen game this year? It seems like over the weeks it's kind of started to progress. You guys have had a lot of success from it.
Yeah.
Johnny Ford especially, can run the ball, catch the ball. Do you think Jordan's ability to operate the offense, kind of an intermediate, short length, kind of helps that a lot? And what would you say about the screen game? And can you expect to expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you totally got it right. I think Jordan, kind of call our quarterbacks like point guards. He's really good at distributing the ball in those short to intermediate passes. That's one of his strengths. And then obviously our running backs, they're good, shifty, smaller guys. So it's very useful to use those guys in that way. And especially after the ECU game too, we'd had some success with the screen stuff, more of the receiver screen and the perimeter stuff, but definitely had to make an emphasis of getting the running back screens going, some tight end screens, doing some different things like that to help us, because with smaller backs, as you guys have talked about, people bringing pressure and having some matchup issues with that. Hey, let's get those guys on some screen passes and slow the rush down. So I certainly think that's something we're going to continue to build on every single week.
Coach was saying with Jordan, he sees that he's playing well within the flow of the game. He had that 95-yard drive, that drive at the end where you needed to score, and he let you guys down.
Yep.
He's still being accurate. These past few games, I mean, what can you say about his maturation as the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's done a really good job with the passing game and distributing the ball, knowing where to go. Once again, I think his confidence in what he's doing has continued to grow. It's just being in that offense and definitely being in the groove of being the starter and being the guy and doing all that. He's certainly made big strides. We certainly have improvement to go, and the biggest thing for him is just eliminating those 3 or 4 plays that can define a game that are bad, whether it's turnovers or a missed throw here or there. But I'm really proud of him and how he's continuing to grow. And I'm proud of him, too, for, we have the fumble touchdown, which was a huge play, and then to come back with a 2-minute drive at the end of the game and take us all the way down the field. So he's doing some good things.
The strides you guys are making, how exciting is it to get a primetime ESPN game at home to showcase what you guys are doing?
No, it's great, and we always talk about the next game is always the most important game, but I'm excited each and every week to go out and continue to get better and see where this thing goes.
There's something I thought you guys did a really good job about last weekend was fighting all 60 minutes. You guys really played a full game, just didn't fall your way.
Yep.
Can you just speak a little bit about how impressed you are and how proud you are of those guys just really fighting all 60 minutes, kind of tooth and nail?
Extremely. I mean, I think it says a lot about our guys and the things that they've gone through from the off season to starting off slow this year and even starting the game down 10-0 pretty quick in the first quarter. I didn't think they blinked and continued to fight and claw and make their way, and we really played to win. And obviously it just didn't go our way, but extremely proud of this team and how they've continued to grow and not quit and not give up and continue to fight. So it's very encouraging. We just got to continue to make that progress, and the results will eventually show.
Dawson has shown game-breaking ability. You can talk about how he's grown during the season so far.
Yeah, early in the year, he may be playing 10 to 15 snaps a game. And just, trying to get him a few touches here or there, just knowing what he can do. But he's continued to show that he can operate the offense and do everything that we need the slot position to do. And so as the time's gone on, we've said, hey, this is one of the guys that we need to get the ball to. And obviously we got him quite a few touches in the past game on Saturday. And so I think, he's played about, 35, 40 snaps in that last game. And so continuing to see that progress and continuing to see how he plays with the ball in his hands makes us want to play him even more.
It's as a player I used to like it, but as a coach it's pressing because you basically have to prepare red zone, short yardage, goal line, third down, normal down distance, all that in one day. We usually have 2 days to split it up. So as a coach, you always feel the pressure to get quality reps. And obviously, you're not going to have the amount of reps you would in a normal week, so that always stresses us out, probably more than the players. And but you never know. It's just you just got to wait and see how they're going to react to it. I've seen both sides of it, on a Friday or whatever, Saturday of a short week, of how they're going to respond. It's a little bit longer nights than usual, but players. The players get one less kind of full, heavy on their legs, on their shoulders, contact day. So you hope that benefits them, by us taking that off of them. So we'll see.
Coach, you faced Zach Smith when he was at Baylor. Obviously more mature quarterback now, but can you maybe compare and contrast some of the things about him from 3 years ago?
Well, it's like it's not only Zach, but it's Coach Montgomery, who I have a lot of respect for. Faced him a few times. Unfortunately, I'm one of those guys that contributed to him getting the head job at Tulsa. Coming out of Baylor with all those explosive offenses they had. But no, Zach, he looks like he's in the mold of the, Florences and the Griffins and I can list them. There's about 4 or 5 of them right there out of a 8-year span. It's like the production didn't change, the numbers didn't change. They're always leading the nation, and for that offense, if you can pitch it and catch it well enough, like he can, right, and know the look that he wants and is accurate with his throws, with the quick releases on the RPOs, that just enables him to run football. So I could write a book on the Baylor offense, which is what this is, and what Coach Prowse started down there. unfortunately, it wouldn't be a bestseller coming from me against it. But I'm in line with a lot of others that, they know how to stretch the field, and they know how to find windows, but in order for it to be effective, you got to have a Zach Smith that a mature Zach Smith now is dangerous. It's kind of like it's been building up to this for him. Now the talent level around him is back to kind of what he is used to, and that's when it gets dangerous.
You mentioned the talent level. I know Shamari Brooks, they lost him to a knee injury. But a couple of the other running backs, maybe lesser known quantities. I know they had a Texas A&M transfer. What do you see in the running backs?
If you just notice it didn't take my guys long the first night we watched film together of just seeing how powerful. They'll lower their shoulder and they're looking to lower the boom on you. There's one that has a little bit more shake than the other, but for the most part, you better get ready for them to run through you. And we've had our issues, guys trying to tackle too high. And if we do that against these guys, they'll just run through us. And they'll have a big stat is going to be yards after contact Friday night, how well we were able to get their feet off the ground, because they are very, very powerful running backs.
Just how big was it getting Boyles back? I mean, he had the tackles, he had a nice play on special teams, but Coach Scott says, like the quarterback of the defense, he exudes confidence and kind of gets the guys around him going. I mean, just how big was it getting him back last week and moving forward to have him again?
Yeah, obviously it was just, he'd been out, 4 or so weeks. And just the first day he was back at practice, totally different vibe. So yeah, a guy like that just raises everybody. Everybody just seemed a little bit more dialed in. Everybody was more emotional. They're just, it's hard to explain, but if you know it, you know it. And you get a guy like that, he's more as beneficial in a lot of other ways than he is just in his production, as you alluded to. And then you got, Makai back last week too, which was huge. And you had a couple other guys that are starting to get healthy. So hopefully, we can build on that, and it can carry us to help us start playing good enough defense to win games.
Talking about the point, how he kind of came along, kind of surprised you a little bit with how he absorbed your defense and progressed early on. And you just telling us how much he studies film, and Coach Scott said he has a knack for the ball, and he says it's not really too much natural; it's a lot of work. Just what can you say about his work ethic and what he does?
Yeah, and those guys reminded me, I'm like, why didn't he show up to me earlier than what he did? Because he was here, and he just kind of didn't have a lot of film, and they reminded me when we first got in, he was coming off a knee injury, and so like the first couple of weeks we were working with those guys, he was released, but he wasn't the same as he is now. So that was, big for me, just to all of a sudden he's turning into a guy because he's healthy and he can play with confidence. And now you add on to that being cerebral and being able to dissect, alignments, assignments, motions, unbalance, all that. I mean, those guys back there, they've got to be scholars. A lot of our issues early in the year were just kind of alignment stuff. Guys play in positions they don't practice. It's impossible to function. It's impossible just to get lined up, to get, to be where you're supposed to be in position to make a play without even bringing your athletic ability or being a player that's good enough to make plays in it. So we were missing so much in both those situations for a few weeks. So. Again, it's yet to be seen if we can keep building on it, but, after last week with some guys back, you feel like at least we're trending right now, and we'll find out what happens Friday night.